When you do simple things, you become a simple man, and no simple man has ever done anything that's going to be remembered.
Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show.
Guys, I want to tell you what happened when I started to listen to the voice of God. Friends, welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show. My name is Bedros Keuilian, and today's episode is all about listening to the voice of God. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, whoa, Bedros, you've mentioned in the past that you don't necessarily believe in faith and religion, but if you really listen closely, I do believe there's a God, I do believe there's a higher power, and I do have faith. I don't subscribe to religion, however. That's a different story, and if you guys have an issue with it, you can leave it in the comments and try and save my soul, and I appreciate you all for trying to save my soul. In the meantime, we're going to dive into this episode, and I think it's going to be massively transformational for all of you that are stuck in life right now and you're having these bouts of maybe guilt, of regret, of shame, of anxiety and depression, and you're constantly at battle with yourself and you don't know what to do. Maybe it's time that you listen to the voice of God. So let's kick this episode off. So first off, shout out to all of you on YouTube. YouTube is growing very quickly, as is Spotify, and I appreciate all of you that are watching and listening, but they're on YouTube. 74% of you are not subscribed. So you're watching the show, you are not subscribed to the show. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help get this message out to a whole bunch more people who we can help elevate to their highest self. If you would subscribe, like, and leave a comment. So that would mean a lot to me, and that is all I ask from you. So with that said, what is the voice of God that Bedros was talking about, right? Well, so first off, think about this. How often do you have this inner dialogue with yourself, right? You've heard me talk about the inner bitch and the inner advocate, right? The advocate is this positive voice who is telling you that I believe in you, that I know you have what it takes, that I think you're strong and capable, and you can be motivated and disciplined at the same time. However, your inner bitch, your the devil within kind of tells you like, hey, you should take a break. You should slow down. You're not capable. What if you mess up? What if you look stupid? Don't try this. You're going to fail. And so your inner bitch oftentimes will speak much louder than your inner advocate, right? And if you've been watching or listening to the show for any length of time, I tell you this, that you are not your body. You are spirit. You are consciousness, right? And so if we know that we are consciousness and we are in this meat and bone and muscle vehicle, it's no different than if you were to get into your car. Doesn't make you your car. Your car is the vehicle. Your car is the equivalent of your body. You are the equivalent of your soul or your spirit, consciousness. When you go into the car, you don't become the car, you become the operator of the car, right? Now, in the car with you are two other people, if you will. One of those people is your inner bitch, the bitch voice that tells you you can't, that wants you to quit and give up and, take the easy way out. Be comfortable, be complacent, and don't try so hard. And then you've got the advocate. Most of us have the advocate in the trunk, bound, gagged, and you could barely hear him screaming at the top of his lung that he believes in you, that he knows you can do it, that you're capable of more, but you can't hear him because he's in the trunk and he's bound and gagged. Your job, my job, through self-development, self-mastery, is to literally take that critic, that inner bitch who is sitting in your passenger seat and hissing into your ear doubt, fear, uncertainty, and swap them out with the advocate who's in your trunk, bound and gagged, who you could barely hear, right? So I hope you could visually get this kind of word picture that I'm drawing for you. So how do we swap these two out? And if you're like, hey, Bedros, can you just pull the car over and kick the inner bitch out and then take the advocate out of the trunk, put him in the front seat, and off you go? It would be awesome if it was that way, right? But once again, when you think about how God has designed us, God didn't make earth heavenly, did he? We have temptations here on earth. We have the devil who is here to tempt us and take us off our righteous path in life. Your righteous path is the path of congruency and authenticity, of alignment, of the version of the man that you want to be, that you would respect, that you would fall madly in love with. But when you don't do that, when you aren't aligned, when you aren't congruent with that version of yourself, you start feeling those feelings of shame and regret and guilt and anxiety and depression, right? So understand that since earth is not heavenly, we have free will and you can do good and bad. Unfortunately, you cannot pull over the metaphorical car and kick out the inner bitch and just leave the advocate in the front seat hooting and hollering and rooting you on and just being your hype man and saying, you fucking got this, now let's go, right? Guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian Show. If you are into having better health and you want more energy, if you want to have a stronger immune system so you don't get sick as much, and you want to fight off inflammation in your gut and in your joints, then the new and improved Trulene Wellness Shot is for you. This is the best, newest version that we've ever created. It is packed with vitamin C, vitamin D, ginger, turmeric, zinc, B12, sodium, potassium, magnesium, astragalus, and echinacea. It is there to help you get more healthy. It is there to give you more energy. It is there to give you immune support and to help fight off inflammation throughout your body so that you can go dominate your day. I want you to try this, a 30-day supply for 50% off. Just go to Trulene.com, use my code BEDROS, and you will get half off. You will get free shipping. $1 of your order will go to Shriners Children's Hospital. And on top of that, you get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So if you don't like the product, and we have yet to have anyone return the product, just let us know. We'll give you a full refund. And if you decide it is the best thing for you, like thousands of other people have, then stay on board to the Trulene Tribe. And every month, we will send you a new order for a 30-day supply for 20% off, free shipping, and $1 from every one of those orders will go towards Shriners Children's Hospital, where we're going to do a lot of good together. So here's what I want you to do. Go to Trulene.com, use my name, Bedros, to get 50% off your first order of the Subscribe and Save, and build your body, build your health, build your energy as we do a lot of good together. Now back to the show. What we can do, however, is bound and gag that inner bitch, throw him in the trunk, and then bring that advocate to the front seat. But both must be in the vehicle. That is just how we are by spiritual, by godly, by universal design. So accept what it is and do not try and argue the fact. Just live with the fact that your job is to swap out the inner bitch with the advocate, but they must both be in the vehicle. That is how, as humans, we will live. Now, those of you that are believers in Christianity or any other faith that says that we are flawed here on earth, but we will go to heaven, there everything is perfect, isn't it? You don't have the temptations, you don't have evil, you don't have darkness, you don't have the devil trying to take you off your path. What you have is an earned salvation. But what if you could also have a higher level of earned salvation here? What if you can actually elevate from a human animal, which is what we are? As humans, we are animals, aren't we? And when you think about it, if we are human animals, we are greedy, we are selfish, we are emotional, we operate off feelings. And those are things that tend to get us in trouble, because if I don't feel like working out, then I may not. If I don't feel like eating clean, then I won't. If I don't feel like making that next sales call because I don't want to get rejected, then maybe I won't. And if it just doesn't feel like it was a good day for me to go to the gym, or it doesn't feel like for me to be a nice person, then I'll be an asshole to people, right? We operate a lot off of feelings and emotions, greed, selfishness, because that is what the human animal does. I mean, think about this. We are consciousness, we are godlike, stuck in a human body that requires food and shelter and possessions and things. And so there is fear and doubt and uncertainty all around us. And we try and acquire shit. And if we can't acquire it, as in you can't get enough money to get what you want and pay your bills and have a roof over your head and feed yourself, and then you start getting scared. Then you start getting greedy. Then you start getting selfish and you take other people's shit. And then you start getting jealous. These are all human animal 1.0 traits, aren't they? You start getting jealous and envious, and you begin to hate on someone else because they earned what they have, but you want to say that they got lucky, they were fortunate, they were blessed. Were they does God bless us when we do the work, put our head down, and plow forward towards the man that we want to become, even when we're tired and fatigued and don't feel like it, and it's dark and it's cold and it's rainy and you don't want to get out of bed because you're snuggled up to your honey's booty, right? So understand that consciousness within a greedy human animal is what we are. We are God that is stuck in this human animal. And until we can separate ourselves after death, we must learn to manage and kill off the human animal and rise up to our higher self. You're like, hey, B, this is starting to sound a lot like the Bible. Is it? You mean when Jesus died as man and rose. Fascinating. And why did he do that? And he said we are all godlike, that we all have God within us, that he is risen for us, right? And so it's fascinating that that happens because you as human have God in you, my friend. And you can either listen to the voice of God or you can choose to listen to the voice of your inner bitch, the devil. Now, here's what I know to be true. The devil speaks in wants. You know, don't you want to sleep in? Don't you want to skip your workout? Don't you want to not eat that, lean turkey or chicken breast and instead eat pizza and ho-hos, ding-dongs, Cheetos, and hot dogs, right? The devil speaks in wants. Don't you want to spend more money than you make? Don't you want to get those things so you can flash on social media? But God speaks in shoulds. So if you're ever in that state of mind where you're peaceful, where you are listening to your inner self, which these days is so hard to get to that state because you have so many distractions. Your phone is the greatest distraction to you connecting with your inner God, with consciousness. And your conscience is the greatest, most purest, authentic voice of God. If you have consciousness within, meaning a piece of God, then your conscience, meaning, I should get up and work out, but I want to stay in the bed and sleep more, right? The should is God speaking to you, your conscience speaking to you and saying, dude, get up. That's why you feel guilty. That's why you feel regret if you don't get up and do this. That's why you're going to feel horrible about yourself and you're going to have regret, right? And then if that continues long enough, if you keep taking the wants in life, meaning the devil's marching orders, soon you start feeling anxious and depressed because there's no other way that God can grab you by the shoulders and shake you and say, listen, man, I love you. I've created you. I've built you in my image, and I've created a version of you that must ascend to your higher self. And for that to happen, you must choose hard over easy, because each time you choose easy over hard, your life becomes harder. But when you choose hard over easy, your life becomes easier. Now, I'm asking you now to do the things you know you should do, because God speaks in shoulds and the devil speaks in wants. And so you know you should get up and work out. You should get up and eat right. You should get up and not social scroll. You should get up and live the life that you want to live in terms of the man that you respect, the man that you love, and the man that you would honor. And so for me, because if you're wondering, hey, Bedros, that all sounds great, but that's so difficult. How can I do that? Sometimes when the devil speaks in wants and it's cozy in bed and it's cold outside and I don't want to eat clean and I don't want to work out. I'm sore from yesterday's workout. I just want to stay in bed. I just want to social scroll. I just want to play video games. I get it. Want. You've gotten so good at turning up the devil. That's no different than the analogy that I gave you, right? Where I said that the inner advocate is in the trunk and the inner bitch is in the front seat. The inner advocate is bound and gagged in the back. The inner bitch is up front with a fucking megaphone in your ear, hissing at you, giving you doubt and uncertainty and fear, skepticism. And so the same thing happens here. Each time you give in to your wants, to the devil's commands, the devil's voice gets louder and God's voice of shoulds becomes a whisper. That leads you then down a path where you are fat and floppy, you are broke, you are addicted, you are dependent, right? I mean, think about this. You're drinking alcohol. You know it's poison. You know it's bad for you. You're either addicted to it or you have a dependency to it. A dependency is, well, I just want to take the edge off. I drink it to take the edge off. Shut the fuck up. You're going to drink poison to take the edge off? Or how about the shitty foods that you're eating? Comfort foods, emotional foods to make yourself feel better, right? But your body looks like a fucking dumpster fire, my friend. Is it worth it to you because you want that? Because you want to take the edge off with alcohol? You want to eat foods that make you feel better, right? So you know what you should be doing, but you have these dependencies or these addictions to pornography, to social media, to video games, to television, to gambling, to alcohol, to food, to whatever those things are that are retarding your life, that are limiting your happiness. And you feel the guilt, the shame, the regret, the anxiety, the depression, because that is how God, your higher power, speaks to you, yet you still are deaf to it. You're still blind to it. You're so fucking stubborn to it. Because if you start listening to the shoulds, like, I know I should get up and do this thing. I know I should get up and make that call. I should go and eat clean. I should get that workout in. I should go and get some sunlight and go outside. I should start journaling. I should have a morning routine. And you start listening to the shoulds, and all of a sudden God's voice, consciousness, and your conscience begins to get louder, stronger. And then what happens is the devil's voice of wants, the devil's commands become a whisper until they just become a light murmur in the background. This is how people become motivated and then disciplined. And then this is how people like you, who are off your path, who are sad and lonely and depressed and anxious and feeling guilty and regret, and you're broke and you're destitute. This is how you got yourself there. You listen to more of the wants, the voice of the devil, instead of the shoulds, which is the voice of God. Yet your conscience is constantly speaking to you, my friend. And this is what I want to do. I want to empower you to listen to your inner God, your inner voice, because you are godlike. We are godlike. That's how good God is to you. The universe has put a piece of God within you. However, you also have free will, because on this earth, the devil exists, and he will constantly hiss at you. He will constantly try and take you off your path of congruency with the man that you want to be. He will try and disalign your alignment. It is your job then to stay congruent and focused, right? And I share this with you guys because the moment you could understand this, that it is our job to kill the human animal of greed and selfishness, of emotions and feelings, of jealousy, and rise up to servitude, serving first off yourself in the path that you want to be. My friend Ed Milet says, Bedros, the greatest fear that I have in life is that if I were to die today and I go to the gates of heaven, and there God says, hey, Ed, this is the most perfect version of Ed Milet that I've made. And Ed says, I want to reach my potential of that. I want to go to heaven and stand at the gates of heaven and recognize that man and see him as a twin mirror image, like they're twinsies. Could you imagine if you were to die and then you were to meet your higher self and you're like, I don't recognize that person. Who is that person? They have such radiance. They have such great energy. They have such great glow about them. Who is that? They have such light behind their eyes. That is the highest version of you, my friend. And so how do we get there? Because I get it. The hissing of the devil when he gets you to want the things that keep you comfortable and complacent and dependent and dumb and dopey and depressed. His voice is loud, man. The devil's voice is loud. But how do we start listening to the voice of God and doing the things we know we should do? Because God speaks to us in shoulds, our conscience, right? Here's what I do. I go, who are the people in my life I don't want to let down? Now, for me, my biggest accomplishments is not going to be Fit Body Boot Camp or Trulene Supplements, Fuel Hunts Apparel, or any of the other companies that I've helped start and scale and sold. No, my greatest accomplishments in life are going to be Andrew and Chloe, my son and my daughter. And if those are going to be my greatest accomplishments, then I want to be an example to them of great humanity, of what a man who follows congruency does, who follows his conscience does, a man who is on an aligned path, right? And so for that to happen, I always imagine that there's this invisible drone flying above me and that Andrew and Chloe have a live feed of the audio and video from that drone, and they could tap in and see exactly what dad is doing. Is he keeping his word to himself? Is he stacking the little wins like he says he should? Is he keeping his surroundings clean? Is his car clean? Is his office clean? Is his space clean? Is he getting his workouts in? Is he eating the meals that are going to keep him lean and jacked? Because they are going to learn more from the actions of mine than any words I'm ever to speak. And so I never want to let down my son and daughter because I'm creating two amazing humans with my son and daughter who are going to bring so much more value to this planet long after I'm gone. So for that to happen, I love them and I respect them so much, and I love and respect myself so much. Why would I ever let myself down? And so I do what I know I should do because I need to do it, because I want alignment and congruency with my highest self. And when you have alignment and congruency with your higher self, you're no longer suffering in silence. You're no longer depressed and anxious. You no longer feel the guilt and the shame and the regret, because these are low vibrational things. And if you're doing high vibrational work, you will never experience a low vibrational life. You understand that, right? But the world around you, my friend, is set up to lure you in with the wants. It's easier to scroll on social media than to get up and get to the gym on time. I get it. It is easier and more convenient to eat fast food and packaged and processed food than it is to actually meal prep. I get it. I get it. It is easier to just to kind of eke by financially and just barely get your bills paid this month and pay the minimum on that credit card than to put in the extra hours of work, extra hours of hustle, posting the content, getting the leads, making the sales. I get it. But life is not supposed to be easy. So while we are surrounded with easy temptations, it is the man who wants to rise up to the 2.0 self, to become congruent with the man that he loves, respects, and admires, who will win in life. And these days there are so many fucking losers, guys, that you just making the most basic level of effort will put you in the winner's circle. And guess what happens then? You win once, you like the momentum, you like how that tastes. It felt good, didn't it? Of course it did. So you want to win again and win again and win again. And that is where you start building confidence and competency. And that's what that confidence competency loop is all about. The more competent we are, the more confident we become. The more confident we are, the more things we do, as in competency. And that is what I expect of you. So start small. Act like someone that you love, someone that you don't want to let down, someone that you want to get their respect from. Like for me, it's my kids. Has a live feed of everything you are doing. And if they have a live feed, that fucking ding dong and ho ho and hot dog that you're about to deep throat, and all that orange dust in your belly button, don't you want to get rid of that? Don't you want to show them that you're a better example of clean eating, even in the face of temptation and simple food? Of course you do. And go work out. Get your abs. Like, imagine if you could be a dad or an older brother or a coach who is jacked, not just in your 20s and early 30s. Fuck, I'm about to be 51, and it feels good to have abs. It feels good to be strong. It feels good to be fucking fast on the mats. By the way, speaking of mats, I want to give a huge shout out to Dollarar Mats. I just remembered this. This is not a plug for them, although at Fit Body Bootcamp locations, all we use is Dollarar Mats for our workout floors at Fit Body Bootcamp locations. In my gym, BK Strength, as you guys know, I get a group of dudes together every week, and we do jujitsu. Well, the group of dudes has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and I've had to replace my old Dollarar mats with the newer ones. And the newer ones are even better. If you want to build some kind of a garage gym where you have like some kind of mats on the floor for either stretching, working out, doing jujitsu or wrestling, just check out Dollarar Mats. Back to the point here. But I just want to thank Dollarar Mats, man, for making a great product. There's not a lot of companies out there that make great products anymore. And so when you run into a great product, guys, talk about it, speak about it, share about it, right? Like it's so easy to do, to talk about a great product and help them out. Anyways, back to this. So then, what do you do if you are like, fuck it, B, I want to get realigned. I want to get realigned. I want to get lean and jacked again. I let myself go. I want to start making more money. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to make sure that I show up for my honey. I want to show up for my kids. I want to show up for the people who count on me. If you're a leader, if you're a boss, if you're a business owner, like you, there's no room. There's no fucking area for margin of error, my friend. You have to show up aligned and congruent. So what do? You go, who is the person that I love and respect most in my life? and you list them off in your head, you go, now they have a live feed of everything I'm saying and I'm doing. Because in some ways they do. It is karma. It is karma. So if you're telling your kids, hey, I wake up early, but then you sleep in. If you're telling your kids that I work out every day, but you really don't. Maybe you go to the gym every day, but you're just kind of floating through the gym, doing some haphazard stuff, never getting sore, never developing your body, never burning fat, never actually adding muscle to your frame. You're really not doing it. You're a hypocrite. You're a liar. And if you're a liar, again, that's low vibrational shit. Of course you're going to feel guilt and shame and regret and depressed and anxious. So pretend like that drone is floating over you, my friend. Know that you are meant for more. Stay on the path of congruency. Do the things you know you should, because that is the voice of God that you are hearing in that moment of silence that you can create for yourself. And you should. All of you should create at least 10 to 20 minutes of silence and talk to self first thing in the morning and say, self, what should I be doing right now? And you know the answers. Because if there was a gun to your head right now and I said, what should you be doing right now? Everyone knows what they should be doing. But what you want to do is what the devil lures you into, the simple things. And remember, when you do simple things, you become a simple man. And no simple man has ever done anything that's going to be remembered. Guys, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Bedros Keuilian Show. I love and respect each and every one of you, because that is what we need to do as men. We need to support each other, care for each other, look out for each other. And when we do, we are the ones that stand within the gap of good and evil. And always remember this, that average is the enemy. Success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. I'll see you next time.